Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I have a review for you today. It's going to be a mech, and it is going to be the Raven clone. Um, Not the Death Wish mods Raven, but the other Raven. Um, I'll show you the box now because there's not really much to show you. It's just a box, and then you have a spare washer, and I will show you the purpose of that momentarily. But hang on, let's have a quick vape, and then we'll have a bit of a chat. Okay. Okay. Right. Bear with me. Okay. So here is the Raven. As I always say, in all its glory. It is an 18650 mech. I've teamed this with a battle cap and battle deck because I think that looks kind of cool. Let's hope that we have some focusing today and we don't have all of those focusing issues that we seem to have plagued with recently. There we go. Seems to be all right there. So you can see it's actually a pretty stunning looking piece of brass. It's interesting. It's the shortest 18650 mech that I've seen. If you compare it with something else, what do I have to compare it with? If you compare it with the Underdog, for example, you know, it's considerably shorter. In terms of the mod itself, though, let's have a look. Let's take this off and let's remove our battery. Break it down into all of its constituent parts. Right. Okay. Good. So you have a really big, beefy, thick piece of brass here, which is going to focus. Yeah, and you see those three grooves there. Those we'll come on to in a second. And then you have a hybrid top cap, so it's non-removable hybrid top cap, but nice smooth threads. And then here you have this piece of plastic, which is for your battery. So it's a bit of battery protection. So you slot that in there as such, like so. You put your positive contact downwards, and you see there's a hole for your atomizer there. See how smooth that is. And then what you do is you just thread this on here, or you don't thread it. You've got some ball bearings, which are a little bit, they're okay. They locate into those grooves there. Slot on. And then what you have is you have a three-stage switch. So you have fire, locked, and open. So you can't do anything then. That's locked. That's firing. And then this is to undo. You have some battery venting at the bottom. You have battery venting around the side. So you have three different sets of pairs. And then you have this rather nice sort of ergonomic shape which fits your hand. It is so short though. I struggle with it. I really do in some ways. You know, it's fine, but it is a very short mod. It feels lovely, but it's quite wide here. I mean, this must be 27, 26 millimeters around, because this is 24, and that's at least 2 millimeters wider there. Who knows? Dodgy serial number on the bottom. If you can see that, if the light's going to pick it up, 345. So if you have another 345, you know that you've got a clone as well. And then you've got your pin of your atomizer, which screws in to make your contact. That's undone. That's locked, and that's fire, as you can see. We've got some flat wire in there, which looks a bit manky, but it's doing a good job. Let's juice this up. And be away. Okay, right. Sorry, before we go away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the spring. Not sure what you wouldn't call it, to be honest. It's a washer, essentially, which is how you fire the device. So it's not got a spring, it's not got magnets, it's just got this thing, which for some reason I can't remove from its packaging. There we go. Can you see that? No, probably not. There it is. So that is your firing mechanism. So what you can see is you've got a washer with bends in the bottom, and those are essentially springs. So it sits in the bottom of your mod here, and it just springs on those. Now it does start to rip up your battery wraps if you're not careful with them. But yeah, let's talk about that more up in the FaceTime. Sorry, we seem to be waffling a little bit now. Okay, so that's all put together. Apologies for a bit of a waffle earlier. The Raven. So it's interesting. The switch is quite nice. It's quite a firm switch, but it's got that sort of. It's not got the spring of a spring, I suppose, and it doesn't feel like a magnet, which of course it isn't. I'm obviously telling you things which you already know here, but it's got quite a short travel. Oh, sorry, just dripped juice all over myself. It's got quite a short travel, and I know that people are going to complain. Well, people might not complain. Who knows? But people have complained about left-handers not being so able to use it, and I have found that. So when you're firing it, the switch is the turn is quite short. I know it's quite positive, but it is quite a short turn, and I find that even if it's sort of halfway, you can't fire. So it doesn't have to click into place to be locked or unlocked. So obviously you've got fire, and then the tiniest little turn. I'm not really proving my point there, am I? Tiniest turn, and it's locked, which is a bit of a pain, really. I find myself picking up my other 25mm, 24mm mods, like the Underdogs, for example, or the Timekeeper, and thinking, geez, this is a massive mod in terms of the thickness. No real misfire situations with it. You just find that sometimes you're pressing it and you've turned it. So I'm finding that I'm using it with my right hand a little bit more. It fits beautifully in the hand though, so you've got that sort of that contouring there, which just sort of sits and is beautiful. And I found that it doesn't like my goons quite so much. So this battle deck has the world's longest 510 pin. Look at that, and that works an absolute treat. But with some of my other atomizers, it's not working quite as well. So I am getting, no fires sometimes, and it works fine. So I suppose that the pros are it's so diddy. It's just a tiny little package, and it looks the tits. It really does. It looks fantastic. Excuse me. Would I spend 170 quid on the authentic? Probably no. I like to try these things out, as you know, beforehand to have a go, see whether or not it's something that I'd like to afford. As I say, and no, I don't think it is. I think you're better off spending your money on something else. But it's nice, and as a thing to have and to hold and to have in a collection, it's pretty unique in terms of the button, the way that it fires. It's pretty unique in terms of the size, I think. I don't think there's anything quite as compact as this. And it hits like a train. I mean, it really does. It hits very, very well. It's very nice and conductive. Obviously, this is brass. The authentic is a bronze alloy, I believe. It's bronze. I can't remember the name, but it's definitely got bronze in it, which is interesting. And I don't think that's going to necessarily match your brass top caps, which will be a shame. But yeah, sort of hot and cold with this device, really. It's interesting. But guys, I'd be really, and sometimes you just end up getting a sort of a stuck button. But guys, I would be interested to see what your thoughts are on it. And again, apologies for the sort of the rambling, less than enthusiastic review of this. I've had this for about a week now, and it's just, it leaves me a bit hot and cold. But thank you very much indeed. I will see you again soon for hopefully something which I enjoy a little bit more. And yeah, happy vaping. Cheers. See? Misfire. Fucking miss. Ah, no, I turned it off. There we go.